Welcome back to DarkNight Whispers. Tonight's story is about a woman who thought she'd found the perfect place to start over. A white Victorian house with stained glass windows, polished wood floors, and rent so cheap it seemed like a blessing. But some houses are empty for a reason. What she found waiting inside was not simply a memory, not a trick of shadows, but something that watched and waited. Something that wanted to be let out. So grab a blanket, dim the lights, and prepare yourself for tonight's tale. And before we begin, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to DarkNight Whispers, and comment below. Would you risk living in an old house if the rent was unbelievably cheap? Now, let's begin. Claire had never been lucky. At 32, she was newly divorced, exhausted from the endless paperwork, and left with little more than a battered sedan and a handful of savings. She needed a fresh start, a place that didn't remind her of arguments, slammed doors, and the silence that always followed. She found the listing late one night, scrolling through rentals she knew she couldn't afford. Charming Victorian, 4 bedrooms. Utilities included. Available immediately. The photos look like something from a storybook. Stained glass windows glowing with color, high ceilings, and an attic with a little oval window overlooking the street. The rent was laughably low. She called the next morning. The real estate agent answered on the first ring. Yes, the woman said quickly. It's still available. When can you come see it? Claire toured the house that afternoon. The agent was polite but rushed, speaking as if she wanted to get through it without lingering. She avoided looking Claire in the eyes for too long. When asked why such a beautiful property had been empty, she said only bad timing. People come, people go. But Claire didn't care. After everything she'd been through, the thought of having such space, such beauty, for so little money felt like fate. She signed the papers the same day. The first day inside, the house greeted her with silence. Not the silence of peace, but a heavy, waiting kind of silence, the kind that settles on your shoulders. She unpacked boxes slowly. The air smelled faintly of lavender, though she hadn't used any cleaners. Sunlight poured through the stained glass, scattering red, green, and gold shapes across the floorboards. When evening came, the wood of the staircase groaned under her steps as she carried boxes up. Each sound echoed far too loudly, as if the house were listening. She told herself she was being silly. New house. Old wood, that's all. For the first 2 nights, nothing happened. But on the third, at exactly 2 in the morning, Claire woke to a sound above her. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate, measured. Her heart pounded. The attic should have been empty. She hadn't even opened the door since moving in. Grabbing her phone as a flashlight, she crept into the hallway. The attic door loomed at the end, closed tight. The moment she touched the knob, the footsteps stopped. Her hand trembled. She opened the door. The attic was empty. Dust drifted in the glow of her flashlight. Cobwebs clung to the beams. And in the far corner sat a wooden rocking chair. Facing the wall, she froze. She was sure it hadn't been there before. The next morning, she told herself she must have missed it during the move. But in the following days, she noticed small things. The rocking chair was never in the same place twice. One morning, it faced the window. Another, it sat angled toward the stairs. Her coffee mugs vanished from the kitchen, only to reappear on the attic steps. And one afternoon, while working on her laptop in the living room, she caught movement in the stained glass reflection on the wall, the silhouette of someone passing through the hallway. But when she turned, the hallway was empty. A week passed. Claire began to tread the nights. On the 7th night, she woke to whispering. It was faint, urgent, right beside her ear. The words were impossible to make out, but the tone was angry. She flicked on the lamp. The room was empty, but the attic door, which she had shut before bed, was standing wide open. Shaken, she called the real estate agent the next day. Does this house have a history? Claire asked carefully. The woman was silent for a long time. Then she said, the last owner stopped sleeping upstairs. That's all you need to know. And she hung up. That night, Claire shoved a heavy dresser in front of the attic door. She slept lightly, waking at 3:07 am to the sound of wood scraping the dresser. It slid slowly across the floor, inch by inch, until it stopped. Then came the voice. Low, from the other side of the door. Don't lock me in. The next morning, the dresser was back in place. The attic door stood wide open. Desperate for answers, Claire set up her phone to record through the night, pointed directly at the attic. The next morning, she watched. At 2:59, the door creaked open on its own. At 3:06, something stepped into view. A figure, thin, too tall, its head bent at an unnatural angle. It leaned into the doorway, unmoving, for nearly a full minute before vanishing back into the dark. From then on, the house turned hostile. Boxes she taped shut for packing were found open. Clothes she folded were scattered across the floor. Her keys disappeared for hours at a time, only to reappear in strange places on the attic steps, inside the rocking chair, once even in the freezer. Mirrors betrayed her. In the bathroom, her reflection sometimes lagged a split second behind her movements. Once late at night, she saw herself in the mirror, but smiling, though she wasn't. Sleep gave her no escape. Dreams of the rocking chair slowly turning toward her bed. Dreams of whispering voices calling her name. And always the attic door open by morning. The final night came sooner than she expected. At 4, Claire carried a box to her car, ready to abandon everything else. The street outside was silent. But when she turned back, she froze. The attic window was wide open, and in the shadows stood something. It was too tall for the slanted ceiling. Its head tilted sharply, nearly brushing the frame. It didn't move. It only watched. Claire never went back inside. She left everything, clothes, furniture, laptop. The real estate agent relisted the house within a month, and now someone else lives there. If you've just moved into a white Victorian with stained glass windows, if you notice a rocking chair in the attic that you're sure wasn't there before, you might want to check your attic door tonight. So tell me, would you stay in that house? Or would you leave the first time you heard footsteps above your bed? Comment your answer below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to DarkNight Whispers, and share it with someone who thinks they could handle living in a haunted house. Until next time, sleep well and keep your doors closed.